Hey, good morning, everybody. It's me, Mitch. It's me, Mitch, and I'm a little tense right now. I'm a little tense. I'm waiting for some indication. Yes, it worked. It worked. I was very, very hesitant this morning because this morning, and I haven't seen it work completely, but this morning we are multi streaming. And it is working, and it just came on, and you can hear that. Let me turn the volume down. This morning we are multi streaming, and it's working. We are both on Rumble and on YouTube. So, yay! I can't believe it. Second thing this morning that I think went right. Can you guess what the other thing was? So, good morning and welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch. It's great to see you this morning. Great to see you this morning. I actually, I actually watched a lot of the news this morning, and it was very, very, very interesting and also very telling. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, even though we don't normally talk about politics. The election is over. It's done. Doesn't mean the propaganda is going to stop. It doesn't mean the media is going to stop lying. It doesn't mean anything has been fixed yet or is bound to be fixed in the near future. It doesn't mean that the American public is completely aware of what a proper diet is. It doesn't mean anything, but it is one hell of a first step. But still, brace yourself. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse for the next month or two. You're going to hear more crap that's unbelievable. Bad things are going to happen. Let's get through it. I think we've taken the first major hurdle, and in celebration of that, cognizant of the fact that I will probably, as usual, lose subscribers because of my political opinions and my cigar smoking. I'm used to that, and I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. So, this is Morning Coffee with Mitch. Drink it if you got it. And this cup, if you look at it, it says 2016 on it. And I've had this cup since 2016, and I never dared bring it out on any one of my live streams. But today, you all know how I think. That anybody that still won't allow me, as an American patriot who served his country, to have my own opinion and feel the need to distance yourself from me because somehow I disgust you. Go away. Go away. There. I said it. I said it. And I know most of you feel the same way I do. And if I only surround myself with like-minded people and the rest of them completely ignore me, that would be the happiest day and the best thing that ever happened to me on YouTube, even though it doesn't support what I would have to do to grow this channel. So, I needed to say that this morning. I'll tell you the story of my day or my evening last night. This is probably going to go long. This live stream is probably going to go long because we've got a lot of things to talk about. I've got a page full of notes that I want to talk about. I do want to say hi to you as usual because I see there's just a ton of people piling in already. We have 128 people in here, and I'm trying to see if I can get a view count on the Rumble stream, but I don't see it. I don't see it there. Let me go over to another screen for a second and see what I got. I have on Rumble right now, I have 23 people watching. Nobody's chatted yet, but I have 23 people watching me according to this. That's incredible, and I'm hoping that there are new people that maybe know who I am, maybe have seen me on YouTube, but don't watch my morning live streams on YouTube or participate in our chats in our community. I also want to ask you that you don't, those of you who are regulars to this stream, Chat Up a Storm, are part of this community, don't go to Rumble and watch it. That's not why I'm broadcasting it to Rumble. I'm broadcasting it to Rumble because Rumble is like one of the last bastions of free speech on the internet, and maybe at some time in the future the only place left for us to go if things do go south. Now, that seems maybe a little less likely to happen this morning, but it could still happen. I still need the view count on YouTube to keep my channel going and keep it growing. And the only problem at this point, and I think that Rumble's trying to fix it, is that the connection from my streaming software to Rumble is a one-way thing, and it doesn't allow me to see any of the chats or for Ellen to see any of the chats. And I can't respond to them, which is why I set up a tablet next to me so I can actually monitor the stream and see what those 23 people might be seeing now. But to any of you who are viewing this on Rumble and you want to become a major part of this community, you can watch it on YouTube and then you'll be able to become a part, ask questions, I'll answer questions. But for the time being, I'm looking to see who I attract. And speaking of attracting, she's waving her arms at me saying, hey, what about me? Unmute your mic. I'm waiting. Ellen? There you go. Yes, yeah, there's Ellen. Okay, I got my little speech about Rumble out of the way. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good
what
morning.
a great day. And actually, I wasn't waving at you. I was stretching, but I forget that you can still see me.
Oh, of course, I see you down in that little window there. Yeah.
You can see me, so I got to be careful what I do back here.
Well, yes, I would, because Big Brother is always watching. But I see Ellen. I'm watching Ellen in the little window in the green room, and she's going.
I'm getting excited. I'm so excited because
that's great.
It's a great day, and we get to celebrate together. And I was just reading all the comments, and I can just feel all the joy and excitement.
And I'm so glad. I'm so glad that that's the way most of these people. But then again, Ellen, you and I, we've talked about this many times. Mm-hmm. We may be a tiny, small, little band of deplorable misfits, but we're the smartest people, or as smart as anybody on the planet. We understand reality. We see propaganda and lies. We especially see them in all the things that relate to our diet and our way of life and our lifestyle. Mm-hmm. We know it. You watch channels like mine because you're hearing nothing but common sense, no propaganda. Everything that we talk about is backed up by real studies, real research, and even more important, real world results. Real world results. It's really funny. It looks like my picture is backwards this morning. Is the plant? No, the plant's.
The plant is on your left.
Right. And you're on my right. Yes, I think somehow my image got mirrored this morning.
Oh, well, yeah.
Well, that's okay. I mean, as long as I'm in the picture. But I'm usually over on the other side of the picture here. Oh. So I must have hit something in the settings that mirrored this. Now, knowing me, and always trying to figure out the root cause of everything, there it is. Okay, I found it. Now I'm back where I belong. I had accidentally checked a box that says mirror my image. And they put that in there because sometimes watching yourself and seeing yourself from the point of view of somebody else looking directly confuses people so badly, and they're always pointing in the wrong direction, that
Yes.
they allow you to mirror the image, figuring, well, most people won't know whether it's backwards or frontwards, whether you're left or you're right. But I do know, because I've spent a lot of time watching myself on the screen, and
Hmm.
I'm watching this saying, and it would have been more evident to me, I think, as full screen, because I would have noticed that for some magical reason, my bird of paradise plant got up and actually walked and set itself back down on the other side of my chair, which
Yeah. And then you'd have to start wondering.
I did. So I found it, I fixed it, and for those of you who just got used to seeing me that way, this is the way I would look if you were actually looking at me live in person, not the way I would look to myself in a mirror. And sometimes the difference is astounding. People, when they see a picture of themselves, they go, that doesn't even look like me,
Yeah.
because they've never seen themselves from the point of view of somebody looking at them, which is what all pictures are. So at
Hmm.
any rate, well, good to see you here.
Yes.
I've got a list of things. We are gonna break our primary rule today. At least I am, and I'm going to talk about some politics. Uh,
Well, how can we not
you
today?
can't you can't not today, but I'm not going to go off on it, because
Okay.
if I go off on it, fasten your seatbelts.
Okay. Well, luckily everybody has their coffee, I'm sure.
Yes, and
So put your feet up, grab your mug, and get
and
ready.
I'm going to be answering questions today. I always do. It doesn't have to be, certainly. I don't want questions about politics, but any questions you have about the carnivore lifestyle. Oh, and before I put you up in the penthouse,
Hmm.
I want to thank you so much for last night. You were a trooper in the chat on that live stream with
Oh,
Curry and I. Wow, 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 wow.
well, it was so much fun, and that
That
was
was
that was a
another.
great interview.
Was it? Was it?
Two of my favorite
I don't
carnivore men
I
together.
don't know how I
Yeah.
do. I know that Curry and I get along. I know that it went for 2 hours and the
Hmm.
time flew by. I know that I probably talk too much, but then I do that. Um, and I want to thank Curry. I want to thank Curry for that. And he almost missed it. That was the funny thing. I had to telephone him to say, "Hey, where the hell are you?" And he woke. He basically said, "Oh shit."
Oh, that's funny.
But it's so easy to get confused with these time differences, and the fact that
Hmm.
we decided to do this, which what started out was going to be 7 Central, 8 Eastern. But
Right.
when he finally posted the thing, I don't know why it ended up. I think he may have even created the stream while he was in Florida, and he looked at the clock and said 7. Anyway, well, however,
Right. He was in a
uh,
different time zone, so it.
YouTube translated it back to his time zone, which is 6, and that's
Mhm.
where it was. And when I first got notice of it, I said, "Wait, this is not right." And we made the decision: do we want to change it or just leave it?
Mhm.
We decided to leave it. I remembered, uh, and because you may have noticed if you've ever watched my videos that I've never been more than a few seconds, if that, late to go live for anything. I watch the second hand on the clock like they do in network broadcasting to make sure that I go live. Now, it may take YouTube 5 or 10 seconds delay to actually start broadcasting it, but I hit that go live button right on the hour. And I've even got a clock on the
You are
wall and a
on time.
watch that
Hmm.
are synchronized to the internet and the atomic clocks. And I know I know that second by second. I know it sounds a little anal retentive, but that's what people expect. People go somewhere, they want to see you there. None of us like sitting around where it says waiting, you know,
Yeah.
you know.
You're a professional. This is a professional show here.
Yes, this is
Sure.
professional.
Mhm.
Now, if we could get some professional talent involved, we would have something, wouldn't we, Ellen? Yeah, we're still
This is
we're still a
well,
bunch
this
of
is what you got.
amateurs.
This is what you got.
We're still a bunch. And if I seem to be scratching my nose a lot these days, it's not my nose isn't running. I trimmed my beard up this morning, and something itches right around here. I don't know if I missed a hair, and it's
Hmm.
so you'll have to excuse me for that.
Okay. Well,
All right, Ellen. Climb the stairs.
Hi,
Up there you go. Up you go. And it's always great to see you, and it's even great to see that this synchronized live stream is actually working. And I'm going to start for those of you that are watching this on Rumble. And again, I have to basically switch streams here on my notebook to actually see how many people are actually watching it. Well, it says 23. Now, I don't know if that means views or live. It doesn't really tell me. That's the thing about Rumble. It's still so far behind YouTube in doing these live streaming things, but it is up and coming, and there are many people, most of them in the political arena, that are call Rumble their home and get millions of views. So I know there is an audience out there. I think most of it is a political audience, but we're going to see if we can build up an audience of people that want to be healthy, because you'd think that would be a universal thing across all people. Let me. I got this thing for some strange reason is transcribing everything I'm saying into a chat window. Let me just close that and go and get my show notes out here for today. And I have something, Ellen, I've been carrying forward in my show notes for a week now that I meant to ask you about so we can address.
Okay.
And it was a question a while back, and it was, what does Ellen eat in a day? So write that down.
Yes.
And we'll see maybe if we have a little lull today, which I can't imagine.
Yeah, maybe not today,
we'll get back to that.
Or maybe another day. I'd be happy to talk about.
Yeah, and I think people. I'd find it interesting. I have no idea what you eat on an average day.
Okay.
Yesterday, I had a question about backwoods cigars. Remember that?
Yes.
And and it didn't ring a bell. I didn't know what it was. Well, I Googled it and I found out exactly what it was. And once I Googled it, the bells went off. I do remember these things, and it was back when they were really going hard against the cigarette companies with all the anti-smoking campaigns. This company came up and named themselves Backwoods Cigars, and they started rolling cigars out of, real tobacco and all, but they were the whole purpose of it was to appeal to men. It was supposed to be very rustic, rough looking, almost looking like hand rolled.
Oh, kind of like the Marlboro Man of.
Yeah, like Clint Eastwood might have rolled in a Wild Western, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they took off, and people started buying them. But what happened was, before too long, I don't know if you know what the term blunt means. Do you know what a blunt is? A blunt is where you take.
Yes, I know what a blunt is.
Okay,
Mitch.
you know what a blunt. Well, for those that don't know, a blunt is where you take something that is a recognized product. You open it up, you take out the tobacco, you replace it with marijuana, and then when you smoke it, people think you're just smoking that particular cigar. And that's more common than you think. There are many cigar manufacturers today who make cigars for the sole purpose. They're cheap cigars, the tobacco in them is crap, but that's not the purpose of them. The purpose of them is to be easy to unroll to the point where you can throw out the filler it comes with, or replace it with your drug of choice, roll it back up, and fool everybody. Somehow the smell doesn't fool everybody, but, And this was one of the first commercially available products that was used for the purposes of being a carrier for marijuana. And I had known that years and years ago, but it just didn't ring a bell. So that was the answer to that question, because we like to leave no question unanswered. This is politics, more politics. I got a whole page full of political things. I already talked about politics. I started this note out with, I guess we can't ignore the 800-pound gorilla in the room. It is too late for that. I have a note here to caution everybody to still not trust anything the media says. And after last night, and after this is the part of it And let me start out by saying what my night was like last night, so you'll know where some of this is coming from. Number one, at a certain point, no matter how optimistic it got, I had not watched anything about the election. I managed to make it all the way from the time Kerry and I got done, which was 9 o'clock here. I immediately went out. I came outside, I lit up a cigar, I turned on a movie, and I watched a movie. I would not watch politics. I knew that the propaganda and the gaslighting would be going full stream. Nobody had to tell me that the mainstream media wouldn't be projecting her to be the winner all night long and just demoralizing, like they did with that phony Iowa poll that came out over the weekend. Now, it's very obvious now that that was a phony Iowa poll, where they said that Kamala Harris was up by 3 points, 2 or 3 points, based on a Des Moines Register poll. And that kind of indicates that women are starting to come out in force, and this election is turning, and that she's going to win. And that's called a psyop. It's a psychological op. It was evident to anybody that knew what was really going on, but not to the general public that only gets their news from these liberally controlled media outlets. I saw a YouTube thumbnail that said, I saw this last week, that she was going to win based on the results of this Iowa poll. I knew it was phony. There were many videos put up, but not enough of them, showing why it's phony and what they're doing, exposing the propaganda for exactly what it was, as a psychological operation to demoralize the opposition and keep them, much like Tokyo Rose did in World War II. She would broadcast radio shows in the morning that the American GIs that were fighting in World War II could listen to. And she lied to everybody. And she would tell them about defeats that they were suffering and deaths that were happening, to try to demoralize the soldiers, to get them to say, what's the use? Why should I fight when it appears that we are losing or have already lost? That's a psychological operation. They do that to us on a daily basis, the mainstream media. All you have to do is watch The View and listen to those ladies and what comes out of their mouth. Donald Trump is a Nazi. He's a fascist. He wants to kill American people. We had the guy for 4 years. We know exactly what he would do in office because we've seen him do it. And yet they can't stop. They can't stop. I think some of them even believe the crap they say. The media has been doing this to us for years. Now, people talk about it, but still the average person thinks it's news. They still think it's news. It's always been news. For God's sakes, Walter Cronkite was the guy they went to find out what really is going on. And we've been so brainwashed by this whole big machine that it's evident that half of the people in this country have no idea that that's what's being done for them. Consequently, those are probably the same half of the people that still think that healthy fruits and vegetables and whole grains are what you're supposed to be eating, and that you shouldn't eat meat or cows because it's going to give you heart attacks and it's going to create climate change and kill the whole planet. And they believe that, and they march for these causes, and they follow these things, and they kill themselves in the process and make themselves sick. Well, the truth and evidence for the truth is out there in front of everybody, but they won't let it out. They won't publish it. They'll be the first ones to come on TV when a phony study headlines, red meat causes diabetes. This is the latest one of those. This is real. Harvard study proves red meat causes diabetes, says Walter Willett, a vegetarian. The study was bogus. We've talked about that. But that didn't stop ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN, and all the other propaganda outlets from making headlines out of it. and actually saying to people in the headline that it proved. Not only didn't it prove anything, it didn't even suggest anything. But that's what propaganda is. That's what propaganda is. And you hear it enough and you hear it often enough, it becomes truth to you, not to us. We're too smart for that. We are way too smart for that. God, look at this, almost 5 minutes and I'm still rambling here. But this is, sometimes I just have to vent and say, how I feel and give you the warning. So over the next 2 months, this is not going to stop. They're going to double down on it. It's going to get worse. And half the Americans are going to believe it because they're being gaslit and don't even know what that means. Those of us who do know what it means have to try to remain optimistic. And I can remain optimistic because after the odds that he overcame, after they tried to kill him, jail him, suppress him, poison his image and his true intent in the minds of everybody, they lost. They lost. They didn't lose. They didn't win everybody, but they won enough that maybe over the next year or two, maybe some of these people will finally start realizing, these media types, that people aren't getting wise to them. Their viewerships are going down. And then the most important single thing will happen. It'll hit them in the pocketbook. A motive which trumps, and I pardon, not a pun, which trumps every other reason for doing anything. And that is money and views and clicks. And maybe they'll move a little bit more towards the center and stop with the lying and the scheming and the fraud that they've been perpetrating on us. Or they'll just simply go away because nobody wants to see them and is watching Rumble, a company not controlled by the tech left like Google and Microsoft and everybody else, who censors, shadow bans. I know all about that. And X. And X. There are two places right now where everybody like me who has a message that is deemed misinformation and dangerous when it isn't. Every one of us should have an eye on migrating to those two platforms. And fortunately, after watching Elon Musk on Joe Rogan the other night, he said some very amazing and profound things in that 3-hour interview. Most of you have probably seen it. One of the things he said was that meat contributes nothing to global warming or climate change. Nothing. Not measurable, not provable. It contributes nothing. Why is Elon Musk an authority on that? Because as smart as I think I am, and as much common sense as I think I have, and as much as I have a brain that can put all the pieces together and distill out what's real and what isn't, and what's true, and establish connections between everything and everything else to find the root causes of and the whys of not only our behaviors but even our messaging. As smart as I think I am, and I know, and I'm not blowing my own horn, I know I have a fabulously high IQ. I know that my IQ puts me in the Einstein category. It embarrasses me to talk about it, but I do have that capacity for that kind of thinking. And I hope it shows up in my diet advice, especially zeroing in on addiction as the root cause, because it is. There's no doubt about that it is. It drives everything. It drives us. Nobody seems to recognize it as being that much of a problem. It is the only problem. It is the base root cause of every addiction on the planet, including drug addiction, alcohol addiction, and especially sugar addiction or carbohydrate addiction. And when I say sugar, I'm also including all carbs. I'm including pastas and breads and grains and everything that comes from plants. I call it sugar. I'm talking about carbohydrate addiction. I harp on it to my own detriment, to my channel growth detriment, to people who get tired of hearing it, because it's my core belief. It is how I healed myself. I talked about it on Curry's stream last night, and I'll continue to. And if you get bored, either you don't believe me or you're just tired of hearing it, and I can't change. I'm going to keep doing it. And if I have to take this message to platforms where I'm not shadow banned, where I may, as they grow, have an opportunity to regrow, if my income on this channel from advertising revenues goes down to zero, and it's approaching that now, I'll make a tiny little bit of money relying on the goodness and generosity of those people who think that I'm giving some value by either shopping on my Amazon stuff or buying me a coffee. But at this point, neither one of those can make me a living. And I'm not going to talk about me and money today. I'm talking about what I'm willing to sacrifice to make sure that I can still do this without being censored. And X, what used to be Twitter, and if you watch the Joe Rogan interview, you'll gain an insight into the importance of what it meant for our country when he bought Twitter. He shut down the biggest propaganda arm of the left when he bought Twitter. He did. He shut down the reason why they won the last election. Had he not bought Twitter, we would not have won this election yesterday. That's just a fact. And I was telling you how smart I think I am with humility, because compared to Elon Musk, I wouldn't say I'm a dummy, but I'm not in the same class of brilliance that his mind has. And all you got to do is look at the guy, which is why he's public enemy number 2 right now. The only person they want to get more than Musk is Donald Trump, because they know he believes in the right things. He votes the right way. He doesn't put out propaganda. He creates things. He builds things. He understands everything he does. He's not only a rocket scientist, but a philosopher. May not be the smoothest public speaker, but the guy is friggin' brilliant. And there are very few people in this world that I admire and will say unashamedly that this guy is, maybe he thinks like I think, but he does it a hell of a lot. Hell, he's got much more capacity. So when he says something, I pretty much take it as truth. And he let that out. He let all of that out on the Joe Rogan interview. 3 hours he sat there talking about, and they talked about politics, and they talked about everything. And he knows how to fix it. And RFK Jr. knows all about the health problems, and he spent time everywhere talking about it. And I respect his intelligence. He understands the truth. He knows the food companies are poisoning us. I've never heard him talk that much about addiction, but he has mentioned it. He may not be as convinced that it is the root cause that I am, but he decided, he picked a side. And it's really amazing. And this is the thing that people maybe change some minds in this election, enough minds. All of these guys are Democrats. Joe Rogan was a Democrat. Elon Musk was a Democrat, a liberal. RFK Jr. was most certainly a Democrat. Tulsi Gabbard was a Democrat. I didn't see Republicans except for Dick and Liz Cheney, who were never really Republicans. They were warmonger, evil people. I don't see people switching from the side of reason and truth over to the side of corruption and propaganda. But there have been a lot of people that finally woke up and said, holy cow, I cannot buy into this woke nonsense and this agenda. God knows who's running it. It isn't the people in Washington, in the White House. Any of you people that think Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were in charge of anything for the last 4 years are living in a fantasy world. And I know none of you think that. Not if you're watching me. Not 182 of you here with me right now. I know you don't believe that. So from here on out, my friends, I'm not going to shy away from politics anymore. I'm not going to spend a half an hour talking about it, but I'm not going to shy away from it. I want you to know exactly where I stand and what my beliefs are on that subject, because they're exactly the same beliefs that drive my opinions about the misinformation about and propaganda put out about diet and health care from the big food and drug companies and the government. And even if there's a small shot that we get a few of these evil, greedy assholes out of government at the heads of these agencies that control things like that, and Robert Kennedy helps get a message out that's saying, people, for 40 or 50 years you've been fed information and made to believe things that are killing you, and here's why, and here's proof. It's not going to change. The food companies and drug companies aren't going to go away. Excuse me. They're not going to go away. But we're going to be able to maybe change a few more minds, like a very few Democrats became Republicans. Maybe we'll be able to convert more people who will take you seriously when you go up to them and they ask you, how do you get so thin and healthy looking? And you start explaining to them. Maybe they will consider you less of a lunatic. And if we do only that, then we've come a long way, baby. So that's it. That's enough about politics. It's really great. I got to tell you, it's so great to be talking to people that are smart, live in a real world, recognize bullshit the instant they see it. It's a privilege, honest to God. I can't thank you guys enough. It is a privilege to know you and to continue to know you. And I look forward over the years that are going to come, not next week, I don't care what happens next week, but over the years, to branch out to places where more of us are congregating, to those platforms available to us that don't hide the truth, that don't censor, that don't take money from these propagandists. They don't take money from big pharma and big food. They don't do it. These are going to grow when people discover that they're Americans, that they have a lot to thank for this life that they have, that our freedoms and free speech, freedom of religion were the smartest things our founding fathers did, a gift that they gave us, which, and this brings chills to me, we came perilously close to losing forever yesterday. And anybody that doesn't believe that, I know all of you believe it, but there are still half the country that believes that America would only have gotten better had we elected that brilliant, smart woman named Kamala Harris to lead us out of the tyranny, fascism, and Nazism of a man like Donald Trump. I'm going to raise a toast. I'm going to raise a toast to four great men, four great, intelligent, brilliant realists who have saved this country from a downfall unlike anything that you can imagine. I've read and I've studied the plans of the left about how they planned to pack the Supreme Court so that every decision came out the way they wanted it. How they gained control of the government and Congress and all of these hundreds of agencies so that all the rulemaking and regulating could be done to further their agenda, which is Sounds conspiratorial, but it's that new world order that everybody always talks about, controlled by a bunch of ridiculous James Bond villain type fat cats sitting somewhere in Switzerland eating steak and lobster while the rest of us are trying to eke out a life on plant food, slave food, getting sicker and sicker, where they can then take any money we have, especially money coming from the government in the form of health care benefits. It would have ended the world as we know it. And we came perilously close. So I want to thank 4 men. They'll never watch this. They'll never know I thank them. But maybe some of these thoughts will be projected out there. So thank you. Thank you for saving this country. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and believe it or not, Joe Rogan, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I'll drink to that. Okay, I told you this was probably going to run long now because Ellen is drinking to it too. Good. So, I don't know where all that came from, but it did come from my heart, my friends, and I hope you're still hanging in there with me. I would just love to see this stream go over 200. But I noticed way back early that we got a super chat, Ellen.
Yes, we did.
And I'm going to try to find it if I can scroll back through all of these. And I'm going to watch the replay and read every bit of the chat, even those of you who maybe don't agree with me. And that's okay too.
Yes.
That's okay too. But let me say.
We have a super chat from Rod Burnett.
Rod Burnett. I got it. Yes. I found it. Thank you so much, Rod. I always appreciate that. Those things, you don't have no idea, are very meaningful to me. Doesn't sound like a lot, but very meaningful to me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And be interesting to see how many people actually did watch this on Rumble. Doesn't cost me really any more to stream it to Rumble too. I managed to figure out how I need to do it. So it's another 2 or 3 minutes worth of work for me setting it up every day. So from here on out, Rumble fans, if you're there, if you also watch me on YouTube, I would like you to continue to watch me on YouTube. But I want to see how many Rumble fans I can attract and whether it is something that might actually take hold over there where I know Ken Berry's over there on Rumble. I don't know how much traction he gets there, but it would be nice. It would be nice to start to have a community of people health conscious on Rumble, as well as mostly just conservatives and political people looking for a place where free speech still matters. And I'm going to be.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, and I'm also going to start, now that I got the Rumble thing figured out, about streaming to X, because I know Tucker Carlson has his whole video show on X, and I know from a question Rogan asked Elon that they are working to evolve their software into something that has a Rumble and YouTube-like user experience instead of a Twitter type experience when it comes to the live streaming and the videos. So it very well may be in 3, 4, 5, 6 months that you'll be able to go into a special place that looks like YouTube, where everybody's posting videos and live streaming, and it's separate from all the tweeting and chatting and everything else. But in the meantime, Twitter is a land of freedom because of Elon Musk.
Twitter is where it's happening.
It is happening on Twitter.
I told people, I'm on Twitter, Twix I call it.
Twix, that's cool. I like that.
Follow me, Scooby the Dog, same name here. I'm going to be posting Mitch's content and continuing the discussion so we can.
Great, Ellen. Great, Ellen.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Mark C. just bought 5 memberships.
Oh, man, Mark. God, Mark.
Mark keeps so generous. Thank you.
Mark. Oh, yes, you are, man.
Everyone is generous
keeps
here.
filling it up. Keeps filling it up. Let's see if I can find, and I've got this laptop here. I could use all those big screens like my regular studio. But let me stop for a second and say that there's a reason why I do this outside. Well, I like sitting outside, but I could do this inside, except for one thing. So, oh, and I have another thing. That
Yes,
I have to show you
this is
first.
what we need.
But I have to show you something first that's just fabulous
Oh,
here.
okay.
Yeah,
Great.
this is so fabulous. Oh, and I see 4 people bought me coffees this morning. Thank you so much. We have Papa Carnivore bought me a coffee. Thank you. Captain
Thank you.
America, 86 bought me a coffee. Thank you. Satya bought me 3 coffees. Oh,
Oh, thank you,
you're so
Satya.
sweet. And this someone buys me a lot of coffees, but someone bought me another coffee, and the message in that one said, "Cheers, Mitch."
Wow.
Satya's message says, "More fuel for you." Thank you. Thank you. I always can use more fuel. Captain America says, "Drink up, Professor." And Peter says, "Today is a great day. Celebrate with a cup of coffee on me."
Oh,
Actually, he says, "Celebrate with a cup of coffee in me." But why would I want to celebrate with a cup of coffee that you're drinking, Peter?
I think that probably was a
Typo. Thank you, Peter. Thank you so much. And this is what I wanted to show you. One of my, and it's got it sideways. I'm going to have to show it to you sideways when I try to tilt it over. One of my viewers wrote me an email and said, "I made you a coffee cup. Is there an address I can send it to?" And I don't have an address.
Right.
I can't. It's just stupid to give out your home address on YouTube, especially if you're in anything controversial. I'd have every vegan protesting out in front of my house. So I wrote her back and I said, "God, that's so kind of you." I said, I've been toying with the idea of going out and getting a P.O. box, but, it's not like people send me gifts every day. I don't need a P.O. box. And when you have a P.O. box, you got to go check it all the time. And the closest one to me is like 4 miles away. But I said, send me a picture of it, and I'll thank you publicly for it. And she sent me this picture, and you can see, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it says, "Excuse me" on it. Can you see that?
Yes, I can see it. That's
Excuse
great.
me. And there's 2 pictures. The other picture says, "While I drink my coffee."
Oh,
How great is that? And I want to
That
have
is-
that cup. It's almost worth me going out to buy a P.O. box for that. But that was
You might have to.
sent to me. That was sent to me by, let me see if I could, by a user, Crafted Seasons with Shaz.
Wow.
Sharon Evans.
Oh.
Sharon.
Sharon, thank you, Sharon. That's great.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I hope you see this.
I'd like one of those mugs. Yeah,
Yeah, that
that's
would be great. Sharon could go in business and make money. I should come up with mugs like that and put them in in like T-shirts, and maybe people would like to have a morning coffee with Mitch mug with a little funny saying on it or something. I thought about that, but I tend to lean. Everybody thinks I
Yeah,
try to be
actually,
commercial here. That's not the thing that's on my mind most of the time is being commercial. So at any rate, I interrupted myself doing something very important. And that is, excuse me,
everybody dance.
while I light my cigar and Ellen dances. Yes.
Woohoo! Time to get the lymph flowing.
Yes. And it ended, but it will start again because I'm not quite done. And one of the reasons why it takes a little longer is because I'm relighting a cigar. I'm not starting with a fresh one. And the reason I'm not starting with a fresh one is that I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning. And I came out here and I've been setting up for this and watching the news, and I just felt like I didn't want to wait. And normally in the morning I can wait even if I don't have a cigar. But this morning I said, I'm celebrating like when people have a baby this morning. So I did light up this cigar and smoked some of it. Wow, I heard a ka-ching. For some reason my phone decided to pay attention to me, and someone else bought me a coffee. Thank you so much. The second someone. No message, but whoever it was, thank you so much. I truly, truly appreciate that. Truly appreciate it. Um, at any rate, I was up this morning, so I lit up the cigar and smoked maybe an inch and a half of it and said, well, I'm not going to start a new cigar for my stream. I'll just relight the old one. And we can get rid of the music completely there. And the music is working fine because I made different arrangements this morning, so I didn't have to fool with it as much. I'm still watching the stream on Rumble. It's still streaming there. I still don't see it showing me any messages, which I don't understand. Maybe I didn't turn the chat on, but I should be able to go in when we're all done and take a look at the analytics for this stream and see what happened, and if I do need to change anything. I'm just thrilled it's actually live out there. It hasn't hurt our attendance here. We've been running about 180 people the whole show. So, seeing as it's almost time to quit, I'm not going to quit. I'm going to go long this morning because I knew I was going to pontificate. I knew I was going to have to get some of that out of me. Call it a rant, whatever you want, but sometimes you just need to say things, and you guys are it. Nobody around here I can talk to. I can talk to Ellen, but I'm only telling Ellen things that she already knows. So it's basically just me.
Hear it.
Yeah, basically just me ranting.
You got another super chat.
Oh, who? Okay. Let me see if I can find that. That's way down again at the bottom of this thing. Let me scroll. Who was it?
Was it Mark? Hang on one second. I'm sorry about it down.
Mark.
Harry Dion. Someone new I haven't seen before. Thank you so much, Harry.
Hang on one second. Let me thank Mark C again for the 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Mark. Always appreciate those things. Always. And tomorrow night, we're going to have one hell of a private live stream. I guarantee you this thing is going to go for 4 hours tomorrow night. I'm going to, I'm going to make sure that I'm well rested, and we're going to go until we're all too tired to talk anymore. So
it's going to be a party.
It's going to be a party. I know it is, because I know the people that keep coming in, and I would love to see some new faces. And we got a super chat from that's Harry Dion. Harry, thank you so much, my friend. Much appreciated. And I don't recognize your name, so welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm just glad you're here. I can spend 5 or 10 minutes saying hi to some people. So what I'm going to do just for fun is I'm going to go way down to the bottom of the chat and start saying hi to people that I know are here now, and just go backwards for a while. And if I miss you, I know you're there, and you know that I appreciate it. So we have Meet Bethy Mid, first one down at the bottom. Scooby, you are great, she said. Mitch knows how to pick 'em. Yeah. Mitch has finally learned how to pick 'em after a lifetime of picking the wrong ones. That's very ironic, Beth, that you may say that, but yeah. I almost think to myself, God, where was Ellen when I was of marrying age way back then, before I actually got myself in trouble? That was, Don't blush, Ellen.
Oh, well, thank you, Meet Be Thy Med.
And we have Dixie Scott here. Good morning. And it's going to be a long show. Yay. Honest to God, I can't do 2 hours every morning. Although if I do nothing else, if my channel finally gets reduced to an occasional video, because there's only so much I can talk about in these videos. I can talk more about addiction. I can have some simple recipes. As far as what to eat, that's simple. You don't need a video to tell you. Don't eat carbs. If you do that, you can't help but eat the right stuff. And a small amount about the basic rules. You know how I feel. The more you complicate it, the more you're likely to fail. You have to simplify it. So I'm stuck with that. So doing these live streams may not get me a high view count, because it doesn't. But it sure is fun, and it makes me feel useful. So that's the most important thing to me. Graceful Lily is here. Good morning to you. And Dobie Duke is here. And Aunt B is here. And No Slow, a new member of the private community. I just updated my homepage today. Hey, Mitch, if you sign up for USPS Informed Delivery, yeah, I have that now. I have that now, and I had thought about that. And that's one of the reasons why I may actually go get the post. What a great idea. A lot of people don't know about that. But my mail never comes here until 4 or 5 in the afternoon. So part of my morning routine is let's see what I can expect today. And unless it's something from the IRS, nothing bothers me. I actually got a letter about a month ago because I made a little mistake on my tax return from 2022, and they sent me a letter, said I owed them some money, so I paid them. And I thought I was done with that. And then 3 months later, I see on Informed Delivery that I'm getting something from the IRS, and I worried about it all day. What the hell do they want now? I don't trust the government. What do they want now? It ruined my day. And I'm saying, that's it. I'm not looking at this Informed Delivery anymore. I don't care. I don't want to know. But I can't. I can't not know. And it's like turning your head to look at a car accident. I just have to know because it lets me know somebody having been up and down so many times, had so many creditors chasing me at various times in my life between being rich, that I'm paranoid about that stuff. I hate to check the mail. And having an ex-wife that used to write me horrible letters every day telling me what a horrible person I was and how much I ruined her, those things came once, twice a week, that I couldn't even begin to have a good day until I knew I wasn't going to get assaulted in the by the U.S. mail that day. So I got in that habit. I waited all day. The mail came. I went out and looked. Letter from the IRS. I opened it up. And in that letter, it basically says, amount due, 0. Ellen, they sent me a letter telling me I didn't owe them any money. That they got my money.
They credit dollars at work.
Yeah, they credit it. That they spent God knows how much time and money producing that letter to mail to me to say, you don't owe us. It said, amount due, 0. Crazy. The only thing worse than that is when you get a notice in your mailbox that says, we tried to deliver a certified letter to you. Now you need to go to the post office to pick it up. Those things are never good news. I mean, never, ever, ever good news when you get a certified letter. At any rate, No Slow, thanks for that suggestion. It really does work. And for those of you who don't know, you can go to the post office and sign up for Informed Delivery, and you'll see images of the mail that's coming to you that day through the U.S. mail.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's a great service. It's a great service.
Boyd, I'm so sorry. I'll have to scroll back. I would never ignore you, Boyd.
He said, hey, hey, hey. He was laughing at the end. Yeah, we're a little preoccupied today, Boyd, but
I'm going to look back and I'll find that. But in the meantime, Spanky, our good friend Spanky, sent you a super chat for $5.
Oh, thank you, Spanky. I'll find that and put it up. Meet Bethy, Med again, Aunt B. Now I'm seeing some names I already said hi to. Graceful Lily, good to see you. Mark C. Lone Stoner. Love that. Love that. Some of you guys have some real creative names. Grandma Prepper's here. Steve Rogers says, excuse me. You know where I got that? I got that from Steve Martin, in case you don't remember. That was a famous Steve Martin thing. He would be doing something and he'd go, well, excuse me. And I used to love that. And that's where I got that from. Ellen, have Sarah send 2 coffee mugs to you. Well, I don't want Ellen's address out there either. So I will probably get the P.O. box.
Well, yeah.
As long as I don't have to drive down there every day.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, we'll
thanks.
Figure something
That's
out.
A great idea, Peter. Thank you, and good to see you this morning. Thomas here, Viking, all the usual suspects. Still have 170 people watching. This is great. Rumble hasn't shut me down yet, so I'm still live on Rumble, and it's still working. Technically, everything is working great, and I'm looking forward to finding out what it is. William McCartney's here. How you doing? Polish Mike is here. I'm just going to say hi to you guys real quick. Here's we're back to that super chat that I got a little earlier. Thank you so much. At any rate, all of you here, this is what I hadn't seen before. I is that a, oh IO Odyssey. Ellen. Oh, Elon could put freedom back in social media. He did. Elon did. Elon did. The way they're running it now, they've got their AI trying incredibly hard to be totally non-biased and yet still be able to root out fraud and misinformation with something they call community notes, which is all algorithmic, algorithmic, algorithmically. Whew, wow, need another drink. Controlled, so that human bias of people who are reviewing these things cannot enter into it. And they keep tweaking that algorithm when they find that answers or community notes aren't perfect, and they're honing in on it. And it is a great idea. Take it out of the young techie types' hands, because you know how most of them lean. And they lean more power for tech, so we can impose our ideas by censoring things. Who is this? Who is this? Steve Studley says, thank you, Mark. Yeah, everybody's thanking Mark. That's great. And Resting Witch Face is here. Good to see you this morning. Always great to see you. Who is this? That's Steve Rogers again. Golf Addict, check your coffees. Thanks. It's a shame that I'm not able to really keep up with the chat so much this morning. Okay, I did get another coffee. Holy cow. Look at this. It says, a follower from Orange County, California. Mitch, thank you for your wisdom and for being there every day for us. I won't say it. I won't belie the confidence. But there is no doubt in my mind who that follower from Orange County, California is. Ellen knows it too. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was absolutely more than generous of you. And I think most of you probably have a clue. And there are certain things in life that you are certain of, that this is one of those things. There's no room for doubt about that. We have Vicky Kenton. How you doing? Good to see you. Some new names. Hey, Ann Moorhen is here. Good to see you. Pamela Suarez is here. Janice Griffith. Good morning to you. I don't really have to. I want to take the time to read all of these chats, but hopefully you've read them. Tom from Tampa's here. Beard and Meat. Yes, great name. Another fabulous name. Rumble is still not showing live. Well, I'm watching it. I'm watching it on my tablet coming right from Rumble, so you may have to look up Old Guy Carnivore on Rumble. Go to my page to find it until you actually are a subscriber. But people have gotten notices from Rumble. I got a notice from Rumble because I'm subscribed under a different username as well. I actually got an email from Rumble telling me that my videos, I just uploaded a new video yesterday. So we'll see, and I'll have to look into the results of this when it happened. But right now, I've got a tablet here, and I'll show it to you. Hopefully I can show it to you without erasing it. But I have a tablet here, and right there is my feed showing live on Rumble, and you'll see me pick up the tablet right there. There's a delay and everything. See it?
And Mitch, someone in the comments, Jamie Walks, just said that he's watching you on Rumble.
Oh,
So
you mean
it
Rumble
must be
is
working for some people?
It might be. That's great. Thank you so much for that. Maybe that's why we got a 20 or 30 more people today than normal. Maybe the Rumble people, maybe their chats are getting mixed in. God, would that be great? And we're going to have to find out how well that works. But I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that the first day I tried this, I spent
Well,
5 minutes this morning before the stream telling Ellen what the contingency plans were if the whole thing crashed and burned when I tried to go live. I have a backup stream already created that I could shut this one down, go to that one, send her the link to it, and she was going to tell you in the chat before we even went live that if that happens, uh, log out of this one and go back and look for the new one. So thankfully it didn't happen, and you could see how relieved I was at the beginning of this thing. Um, but there's so many people here today, so many people in there. I can't possibly say hi to everybody. Standing Foot's here. Lori's Carnivore Story is here. Fran Mariah, thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for the support. Tom R is here. We could just keep going like this all day. This chat is enormous. Can't imagine how some of these guys like Ken Perry handle it with that number of. And here's Spanky's super chat. Hi Mitch, I'm the someone sending you coffees. Thank you, Spanky. Not sure why, but you don't live in Orange County, California. I know that. Not sure why it isn't giving my name. I'm not either. Maybe there's some place in the Buy Me a Coffee app when it comes up or on the page where it asks you to put your name in. It knows who you are because it does reference your email address, but it doesn't show me that. So I don't know. But it's nice to know that so many of those someones were you. Thanks for telling me. It helps. Takes away a little of the mystery. At any rate, let's see. Donna Cole, did I thank you for that? If not, thank you so much. And scrolling around, I see all kinds of stuff here. But Ellen, let's take a little bit of time and answer some questions while we're here today.
okay.
I've talked between last night with Kerry and pontificating today. You all know where I stand and how I think,
And we do. And I think people are grateful. And I know I am just to have someone who thinks like all of us and to be able to talk openly about all of that. And thank goodness. And thank goodness, at least we saw some movement to help maintain that. Nothing will ever be perfect. But you know what I'm going to do? Because we do have a couple new things, but CJ Brackney is here, and I've been saving a question from CJ from Saturday.
okay, let's do it.
I keep all of your questions, by the way, people in chat, and if we don't get to them, we will eventually. And I look for you. I usually wait until I find you. CJ would like to know, did you have any stall after 90 days in on Carnivore, if you remember?
Okay, that's a great question on a lot of different levels. Some you may be happy to hear, and some you may not. The first thought that hits my mind is you're focusing on weight loss. Why would you even know about a stall or worry about a stall if you're focusing on weight loss? That thought hit my mind because when I heard the question, I instantly thought back over 2 years. Did I ever worry about a stall? And my answer to myself was, what stall? I never even knew there was a stall. There probably were very many of them. That's just normal and natural for the human body. Do not want to give up energy it works so hard to store away. And everybody on every diet reaches plateaus. We refer to that as set point. You've heard that used, your set point. Well, in order for you to lose weight, your set point has to change over time. And it doesn't just change every day. It fights and fights and fights and fights until it finally reaches a point that says, well, I got to start giving up. I got to start using some of this body fat now. I can't do it any other way. When you stop the sugar, the alternative fuel is gone. The fat cells get opened up because of a decrease in insulin, and you're able to use the fat. But the body still doesn't want to let it go. doesn't want to let it go. No more than when you fill up your car with gas, you don't want the gas to leak out. You want to use it. And your body fights that. So set points, that's just an observation that means you're focusing on weight. And one of my, of course, biggest things about carnivore and biggest pieces of advice that I give is basically you shouldn't have to, if you're doing it right, if you're not eating the sugar, the carbs, if you're abstaining, if you're trying to cure your addiction, weight is something we all think about and we equate with the word diet. I'm on a diet. Why are you on a diet? Well, I'm on a diet to lose weight. What the hell else would I be doing on a diet? Well, you ever think about maybe trying to get healthy? Nobody thinks about that. If they do, it's a far distant second to losing weight and becoming pretty. So yes, stalls are completely normal. If you didn't stall, that I would begin to worry about why not. Your metabolism has to readjust itself. Your pathways that burn the different types of fuels have to. Oh, excuse me, my computer screen is doing strange and wonderful things. There you go. The pathways have to readjust. You're transferring from sugar burning to fat burning. Your weight's going to be all over the place. In the first 30 days of this diet, I tell people to eat until they can't move. You could even gain weight. It's not important. Not important. The only thing important about this is to worry about your health. And I think you'll find if you take a survey of anybody that's been doing carnivore for a while, I mean 3, 4, 5, 6 months or more, that every single one of them, if they've not diluting themselves, haven't cheated, haven't binged, haven't not one bite, if they've done it and they've been true to it, which gets easier and easier, we all know that, at least those of us that have made it past that first month or two, that the weight just comes off. You couldn't keep it if you wanted to, but it's going to do it in steps. And some of these steps can last for months, depending on how you're doing it. But don't worry about it. Think about not where you are, but think about where you were. Say, why am I worried? I'm 30 pounds lighter than I was 3 months ago. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. It lost me that first 30 pounds. It's going to lose me the rest. And view carnivore as a weight optimization diet, not as a weight loss diet. For me, there are sometimes I think it worked too damn well. I mean, you're looking at a 77-year-old, 5'10" man who now weighs 135 pounds. I still have body fat. I'm still healthy as hell, but I've never been this thin since I was 12 years old. I feel great. And this is my optimum body weight. And it's still it's at the lower end of the range considered normal for my height, but it's still in the range. And being a very light-boned individual, very skinny bones with very thin wrists, and never having been a hugely muscular athlete, this is perfect for me. And I think gives me a greater chance at longevity because, after all, we have never seen 105-year-old 300-pounders or 200-pounders. Most people who really make it into old age are the thinnest. I don't want to say frail because some of them still can move, still have muscles. And I continue to try to maintain the muscle that I have, even though I gave up trying to build big muscles because I don't think it fits in with what my body really needs. But I need to be adequate, and I still do all my leg exercises and my squats and pull-ups and push-ups and basic exercises to maintain the strength that I have now. And I think that'll carry me through however long I might live. Hope that answered that question. That was a great question. Don't worry about the stalls. Don't give them a second thought. Just keep doing what you're doing. What else we got? Ellen?
Okay, our friend Peter, Papa Carnivore.
I don't want to answer his questions.
Okay.
He knows more than I
Next.
do. No,
Next. Sorry,
I'm joking.
Peter. You'll have to give a bigger bribe next time. Just
I'm joking.
kidding. Just kidding. We don't
I
play
love
that
Peter. We
way.
love Peter. Yeah.
Yes, we love Peter. Peter wants to know, did you see his comment last night about his eye exam? He went down 2 diopters from minus 125 to minus 75 in both eyes.
Wow.
Thanks to Carnivore. That's pretty impressive.
It is. The answer to your question is, Peter, I didn't see any comments from last night.
But I
I
did.
didn't have a chance to see a single comment,
Yes.
so I apologize for that. But
And for whatever it's worth, I saw it, Peter, and I don't know if I can't remember if I might have answered you in the chat, but I was impressed with that, and I certainly hope I can.
it is a great thing how good this way of life is for your every aspect of your health. Every aspect can only improve or stay the same. It certainly is not going to aggravate anything and far more likely to improve. So congratulations. That's great news, Peter. Great news. It means you have to buy new glasses every once in a while, but that's a good thing. That's a good thing. What else we got there, Ellen? Ellen is unmute your mic. There you go.
I'm sorry. I didn't want my typing to distract
Oh, that's okay.
you.
That's okay.
We
I'm patient.
have a free Texanet, and again, I'm going back from a couple days ago. Would like to know, what is your favorite dehydrator? She has an old one that doesn't heat to temp anymore, and she wants to make some meat chips.
Okay.
So we got to get her hooked up. I bet you have something.
Well, any one of the Ninja air fryers has dehydrate modes on them. Yeah. I don't have a favorite one because I've never dehydrated anything in my life.
Oh, okay.
I've never made beef chips and jerky. Not that there's
come to think of
not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
But if you know me and you've listened to me, you know that snacking is not in my wheelhouse. I don't believe snacking is appropriate for human beings. If you're going to have optimal digestion and health, I believe snacking is a leftover habit from a sugar addiction. Now, if you want to make beef chips as a side dish with one of your meals, perfect. I have never thought about it, but it's not something I wouldn't do. And maybe I will now that you bring it up. Maybe I'll try some of those things. Because now, if I have any side dish at all, it might be a little bit of leftover something, like maybe half a ground beef patty or something from yesterday, along with whatever I'm eating. Or pork rinds. Sometimes you just, want to have a little crunch, like you want potato chips with a sandwich. And I'll eat some pork rinds. But I never put a bite of food in my mouth other than at the 2 meals that I eat every day, 4 hours apart, starting at 11 to 12 and finishing 4 hours later. That's my intermittent fasting routine. You know the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, that's been working for me for well over 2 years, and the results have been nothing short of spectacular. I love it. I want for nothing. I crave nothing. No dissatisfaction. Why would I want to change a thing? Which is why people say, well, why don't you try to add back in some broccoli or something? Well, why the hell would I do that? Number one, I think this stuff is disgusting. Why would I want to add back in something that I finally got out of my life? It doesn't make sense to me. Not everybody can be me, and everybody has to do what they want to do if they find a reason to do it. But I so far haven't found a reason to dehydrate things. There's any number of devices, from dedicated dehydrators, that's all they do, to some of the air fryers, and I think most air fryers, especially the Ninja ones that people have bought off my Amazon link, have a dehydrate mode. How well they work, I don't know. That's not something I'm an expert at, but it's a good question. Good question. Hope that answers it. Hope that non-answer answers your question.
Well, I think that was a good answer, and I'll put the link up to that Amazon stuff so she can check into that if she'd like.
Thank you. Thank you, Ellen.
So, let's see. Terry Sue asks, what is a good way to sous vide if you don't have a gadget? Does anyone do that?
It's almost impossible unless you have an immersion circulator to maintain a temperature that precise for hours to make sure you don't over or undercook something. The Instant Pot also has a sous vide mode that keeps the temperature accurate enough where you can sous vide in that. But
Okay, that's good to
you
know.
have to sous vide in a vacuum. You have to have it sealed in a bag of some sort. Then the controversy comes up. Well, you're cooking in plastic. Well, there are BPA-free and PFAS-free sous vide bag, vacuum sealed bags. And the temperature is so low when you sous vide, 120, 130 degrees, that it's not hot enough that even if the plastics had those chemicals, they wouldn't leach out into the food. And there's also silicone rubber sous vide bags that use the immersion method of vacuum, where as you push the thing underwater, the air is pushed out the open end of the top of the bag. I use that occasionally if it hasn't come from the freezer already vacuum sealed. Those are on my Amazon page too. But there's a number of ways. A sous vide thing is, by the time you get the container with the rack and the lid and the actual sous vide thing, you're going to invest $150 in that. Mm-hmm. And I think it may be one of the best investments for a carnivore that there is, especially if you eat a lot of steak. And that's primarily either steak or some really tough cuts of meat that you want to sous vide for like 2 or 3 days to really make them edible. But I'm almost at the point where I would rather just throw them in a slow cooker for 8 hours on low to really, really tenderize the meat. I do that with chuck. So I find myself almost every time I cook a steak right now, I sous vide it and then sear it off in my carbon steel pan in butter or bacon grease. And my steaks always come out perfect. They're always fabulous. And I eat maybe 2, 3 of them a week. And the rest of the time, I eat ground beef, which I just fry up in a pan. Or one meal a week, I'll have chicken thighs or fish or something a little different. But that's it. It's so simple, with such a small inventory of different varieties of foods. Your shopping is reduced to a minimum. The money you spend on food is reduced to, I think, the cheapest way to eat on the planet. And once you get over the urge to keep seeking out variety, which is something that is not normal for our species, just like it's not normal for dogs and cats and every other animal on the planet. They have a food they eat, and that's their food. And we are the same. We are the same. And it happens to be, and always have been, animal stuff, red meat from different animals, poultry, fish, certainly fish. Seafood has been our staple during most of the migratory periods of the human species, because they migrated along the coast for just that reason, because that's where the food was. Up until the agricultural revolution 15 or 20,000 years ago, when we started this long downhill path that has resulted in human animals today that are nowhere near as strong, nowhere near as healthy, with jaws that are too small to contain all of our teeth anymore, because we started eating plants instead of meat. And it will take another 15, 20,000 years for the human animal to adapt the other way. If everybody started eating meat, we'd find in 15,000 years that we now had full-size jaws with room for all our teeth. And all the orthodontists would be put out of business. And so it goes. Hope that answered that question. What what else? What else is?
Yes,
Yeah,
that
and it's
emu.
hard to imagine a future, a far future without orthodontists, isn't it?
Yes, they are. Yes, making quite a good
Yes.
living, I believe.
Yeah, they are.
So you want to keep going? Are
Yeah,
you?
let's go to 10 o'clock. We'll make it an even hour and a half this morning. I'm having fun. There's still 150 people hanging around, and God, if
Oh,
people are interested, who am I to say go away?
you get a bonus. You get a bonus today. More for your bucks. More bang for your bucks.
Right,
Um,
right.
although let's see. Okay, Yvonne C asks, and I don't know if Yvonne is here today, but we're going to do it anyway. What about spices such as chili, onion, garlic powder, etc.? And
I,
probably
again, again, I've answered this question before. I'll answer it again because, and that's the thing about doing this is every day new people come in that didn't see me yesterday, and it took me a
right,
while to figure out that just because I said something 6 months ago that everybody happens to know it. Nobody
right.
knows it or remembers it. In fact,
Hmm.
today, I'm going to repurpose an old video of mine, which I think people need to see, and most people never saw it. They're all new since then, and it's that test. This is a test that
Ah,
you need to take to find out how bad a carb addict you are.
that's a
It's
good one.
essential that everybody know that. So I'm going to repurpose that. I'm going to record a new introduction, and I'm going to repurpose it, which is something that YouTubers do all the time, and especially in this arena, as new people are coming every day that never understand that. And for me to keep making new videos and do all that work to repeat something I've said pretty good in the past, I'll make a new video out of it. So it gets promoted and people see it.
Hmm.
And if hopefully, if you don't remember, because who remembers what they saw in a movie 5 years ago until they see it
Hmm.
again? Oh, I think I may have seen this. But it's important stuff. It's the real stuff. And I was reminded of that, believe it or not, because I have 75 videos on Rumble that I put up, and I stopped uploading to Rumble about 8 or 9 months ago. And I started looking through the videos that I had on Rumble, and they were all some of the what I thought were groundbreaking at the time, saying things that nobody had ever heard. And I said, these things are lost to obscurity. Some of them had 100 views. I said, I need to stop trying to reinvent the wheel and repurpose some of these, even if it's just clips from them
Hmm.
or excerpts from them.
Right. Well, that's a good idea because new people, they find you, they're not never going to be able to go back and watch all the content you have because
They
it's
don't. They don't. They'll never
well, it's
find it.
impossible.
I'm
Just time physically.
I'm almost to 500 videos. Who's going to
Right.
sort
So,
through all that to find? But I know which ones. So today, this afternoon, you're going to see a video come out from
that's
me,
great. That's a
and
great
it's going
idea.
to be about take this test and
Hmm.
find out if you're a carb addict or not. It's very important to know. Maybe you're not a carb addict. Maybe you've cured your carb addiction. If you've been carnivore for 6 months and take this test, maybe you'll actually prove to yourself just exactly how profound those changes are in the way you look at things and treat things and act. So that's coming out today. Um, what was the question I'm answering? I know I'm answering a question when I started down this path. I can't hear you, Ellen.
Oh, see, the question you were answering was about spices.
Spice says, yes, I knew it was something different.
Yes.
Uh, Spices. It depends. I don't tell you to eat spices or not. I can only tell you that all spices come from plants except salt and minerals. Whoa, somebody's calling me. I have to put that through and I'll get back. My daughter's calling me. She'll have to wait until I'm done here in a few minutes. Um, my daughter is celebrating her 25th wedding anniversary.
Oh,
Her and
happy
her husband
anniversary.
are over at Disney right now as we speak, but she having a cell
Mm-hmm.
phone is still working and I'm still working too. Maybe she
Mm-hmm.
was just calling to say hello, but I'll call
Yes.
her back
Well,
in a few minutes because
I
we're
suppose.
almost done here. But the spices, let me finish with the spices.
Mhm.
All spices are plants. All spices contain the same toxins that plants do. They taste good. And we're so used to them that the thought of eating food without spices, we think, well, that's bland. It's not going to be good. What we haven't, and our bodies haven't learned yet, is the best tasting food is the way foods are supposed to taste, and that was without all that crap except salt. Some people can't just give them all up at once. Some people have to wean themselves off. They're not going to hurt you. Most of them don't contain any carbs, and that is not going to trigger addictions, but they're still not good for you. They still mean you're still eating plants. Some carnivores can do that. That's not carnivore. I don't care what you call it. That might be ketovore. Whatever it is, not eating plants guarantees you don't eat sugar. That's the most important thing. So if you want to use some spices, if you want to use a little black pepper or garlic, onions contain a lot of sugar. Carrots contain a lot of sugar. Okay? Oh, got a text. Excuse me one second. Let me make sure it's nothing really important. Real quick here. Let me just see. She says, "Oh, happy day."
Yay.
Oh, she's commenting on the election. Okay, great, super, thank you. Yeah, she's happy too. She probably just got up, being on vacation like that.
Mm-hmm.
So at any rate, spices are something that's an individual thing. A lot of people, a lot of carnivores still use spices, but I would stay away from those things that have sugar. And onions contain a lot of sugar. If you don't believe me, look what happens to them when you caramelize them. You know, you can caramelize onions, you can caramelize carrots, Tough to caramelize celery, though, because there's no sugar in celery or lettuce. So I'd watch out for that kind of stuff. If you want to use a little maybe powdered onion just to add a touch of flavor, and you have to wean yourself off of it, by all means do it. But I think the goal should be to allow yourself to relearn just how delicious the taste of just the meat with enough salt to give you what you need. Just how good that is. Mm-hmm. And it's something we've known for eons in our programming, but we have to relearn in our present conscious reality. I wouldn't be afraid of them. I wouldn't overdo them. I would certainly stay away from barbecue rubs, sauces, anything that claims to be sugar-free barbecue rub. It's all garbage. It's all chemicals. It's all seed oils. It's all bad for you. But I don't ever tell anybody what to do. You're all grown-ups. I tell people what I do and why it worked for me. You can, everybody can read out of that what they read out of it. So I hope that answers your question. I think that's about it, Ellen.
Okay.
I think we've gone. Yes.
Just one more thing quick.
Okay.
We had one more super chat from Donnie Cole. No question attached, but we do want to acknowledge it. And
did it just come in?
No, it was from earlier.
I think I brought that up.
Did we do that one?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
think so.
Okay, well, Donnie, you're getting. I didn't check it off on my list.
Here it is, right here. Yes, and maybe that was a different one, but
maybe we did.
It was a super sticker, and if it was another one, thank you so much. I always appreciate that. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Donnie. Well, I'd rather thank him twice than not at all. So,
yeah.
It was so crazy there at the beginning.
Man.
I thought, now, did we do that one or not? So anyway, but
yeah, and everybody's working in the chat to answer that question about the spices. Good for you. And great to see everybody today. Don't expect this hour and a half every day. I got things to do. You got things to do. But this morning, I felt it incredibly appropriate to spend a half an hour letting you know exactly where I stand on something as important as the future of our country, our freedoms, and what it really means to be an American and be a patriot. Doesn't mean I agree with everything this country does. But I'll tell you what. Believe it or not, besides maybe bringing some of the dietary bullshit into public view, which is still not going to convince a carb addict to stop eating carbs. His carb addiction will slough off that bit of logic, like a dog scratches off a flea. It's not logical thinking that cures carb addiction. It's abstaining from carbs that cures carb addiction. It's the only thing. There's a lot of logical thinking, fat people, a lot of logical thinking alcoholics out there too. Doesn't cure their addiction. Abstaining from the addictive substance is it. Carnivore is the only way to abstain from carbs completely. Ergo, carnivore is the way. Something you've heard in many places. And I live that, and it has proven to be one of the great truths of my lifetime. So the one thing I'm really looking forward to is watching 87,000 armed Internal Revenue Service agents get their ass fired. That's what I'm most looking forward to from this whole thing.
Oh,
I mean, that's what they put in place. They put 87 or 78,000, some absurd number of new. They hired that many new IRS agents. They gave them guns.
yes.
And their
Guns. I know, the
plan
IRS.
was that they were the new enforcers of the crap that, and they can make it criminal through the IRS quicker than they can prosecute you for anything. So if you're relieved to think that there's a great possibility now that an armed IRS enforcer is not going to be knocking on your door because they don't agree with your politics, we have taken a huge step back from the edge of the deepest chasm we ever faced as a country. And I'll finish on that note, and I'll bring in a little bit of happy music, and I'll bring Ellen in. There she is,
Yes.
dancing,
Hi, everyone.
and what a smile, man. That doesn't make you happy, nothing will.
Oh, and I have a big smile today. And thank you so much, everyone in chat, for being here. How great was it to be able to get up and share this wonderful day with all of my friends here.
Yeah.
The Old Guy Community Coffee Club.
Coffee Club, and I
Right.
will not hesitate to bring out my Donald Trump cup like I have in the past, because
That was
I've
perfect.
declared myself
That was perfect.
for everybody to see, and if they went away, you know what I say. Don't let the door
I don't-
hit you on the way out.
I don't
Yeah.
think anyone. I think it's gonna bring people here.
I hope
don't think
so.
Anyone in this crowd.
I don't think many people, but I have lost them, I can tell. And it'll be interesting to see when I go look at my. But
you
I don't
all.
know if it's people bailing on me or if YouTube's taking them away, because so many of those people are ancient subscribers who may not even have accounts anymore, and they just disappear. I do know that it's not growing at near the rate it used to grow because YouTube's not pushing it out there to new people. It's the only way you grow on YouTube, and YouTube is not. I'm not showing up in people's recommendation feeds because of the fact that they are anti anything but World Health Organization messaging as far as health.
Yeah, that is true.
That's why I can't flee from this platform. It's where you all are, but I am starting to move some of my furniture elsewhere. Let's put it that way. All right, Ellen, thanks
Well,
so
you
much.
still have your couch here.
Yeah,
Thank you, everyone, for being here on this historic day.
and thanks so much to you. And I will see you tomorrow morning, bright and early. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
All right, and that just leaves me and what's left of my cigar. Take a minute, say goodbye in the chat to everybody while and this thing has still got some left, so I want to relight it. Turn the music up a little. And take the super chat off the screen because I always leave that stuff up there. And thank everybody for coming. Had a really nice turnout today. Thank you all. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this little morning chat. The music has ended, and so will the show. So everybody, have a great one. Enjoy it. Dodge the bullshit, because there's going to be plenty of it. And do all that while you're taking the rest of the day off, of course, and eating meat.